Well, to start off this project, we award you with two Missouri Okras.
Wow.
But more
I
importantly,
feel special.
it's a lot more special than this. We have, if you can see that there, and you can also see this one here.
Now I got one question.
Okay.
Did Pole Crusher give you those to give to me?
He did actually. we we polished them exclusively. It's a bullet with your name on it. Bumper Jack.
Bumper Jack. Rest in peace, Bumper Jack.
and
Humble Pie.
And Humble Pie.
Well, hell, if we did all my names, man, we'd have a whole case of them.
Yeah, we would. So you gone down a recent history as being re-identified on the internet as somebody else again.
I got captured again, man. You know, it's hard being an outlaw.
That's what it is. Well, it's good to see you again. What are you hauling here today?
Good to be seen. Today we got a rock drill, Atlas Copco CM780 rock drill.
A tracked piece of equipment, weighing in at how much?
I'm 105, so 51.
And just a little bit over width.
Yeah, if they took this damn step off of it, we'd been legal widths, but
Gotcha.
that's all right.
Well, we chewed up too much of your time today, unfortunately.
Oh no,
Let's go for the quick round.
All right.
We left you with
The lightning round.
Yeah, lightning round. Speed limiters. What do you got?
I don't know, you know, I'm speed limited as it is. You know, the truck, I bought it new, and I think it was set at 74 or 75 from the factory. And I hadn't changed it. That's plenty fast for me, really. You know, I don't run much faster than 65. Like I told you, you know, off camera, I don't know, you know, to a point I think it's kind of government overreach. But on the other end of it, I don't know, you know, I mean, hell, every other nation in the world is speed limited, so I don't really know that it makes a big difference. I know one thing, it's kind of like when they did the electronic logs, driver pay and rates and all went through the roof, and what it did is it created a workforce capacity crunch. Well, speed limiters is liable to do the same thing, you know. I mean, if it slows you down, slows your productivity down,
Yep.
then your time becomes more valuable and you get more money. So from a business owner standpoint, I'm not so much against it. From a truck driver standpoint, pretty damn shitty, you know. So I guess it all depends on what camp you're in, you know. Me, it's not like I'm gonna quit trucking over it. I mean, it is what it is, and you know, there's freight still gonna need to be moved.
Well, going as you do with 100,000 pounds going.
Well,
down
yeah,
the road,
you know, I mean,
two trucks going side by side, 65 mile an hour,
right,
doesn't really impact you that much because you don't have the impetus to get to 90 mile an hour and get around them.
Well, yeah, I'm not.
Off.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's foolish for me to try to run 80 mile an hour, 85, 90, you know, and you got something that's, you know, hanging out in both lanes and hanging off the shoulder. I mean, you got to go slow enough to give yourself some reaction time.
Yep.
To look far enough ahead to see what's going on. But from an equipment standpoint, I mean, there's no point in pushing the truck that hard. I mean, you know, not only just for the sheer fact of the speed will wear your tires out faster, but you're burning more fuel. But the big thing with me is this time of year, you know, the summertime, you know, I mean, what did I say? Saturday it was 99 outside. Mm-hmm. And the faster you go, the more heat you build up in the tire.
Yep.
The hotter it is outside, the less you can kind of dissipate that heat. The more weight you add to it, the more heat you build. And so you get heavy, and it's summertime, you try to run fast, you'll blow damn tires left and right, especially trailer tires. I mean, you'll blow a tire like it ain't nothing, and it's like my steers, like right now, I'm like 18,200 on the steer. That's what I got riding on two tires, you know. Dang. And if you try to push them at 75 mile an hour when it's hot outside, you know what I mean? And for what? You know, really.
Another 15 minutes in the day or 20 minutes in the day.
Right. At the end of the day, the end of the week, you know, it's not going to add a whole lot. You'll gain more time by keeping your left door shut and staying steady than you will be trying to, you know, Peter Rabbit to the next truck stop and then just do that all day long. You
right.
know, I mean, which I learned that shit a long time ago. You know, I mean, that's something that the old school guys would tell you. You know.
Yeah, keep it steady, keep the left door
closed. Keep your left door shut and just stay steady. You know, and if you're running, I mean, you can run 5 miles over the speed limit and it ain't no big deal, you know, set your cruise. You're not worried about the cops. You're not worried about what these cars are fixing to do and all that other. And at the end of the day, you're at the same damn truck stop you would have been at. You know,
see the same guy come in that you passed?
Oh, I don't know how many times I've been passed, you know, 4 times in a day by the same guy.
Yeah, why not park next to him?
And then at the end of the day, you know, I roll into the same truck stop and he's sitting right there, you know. I'm like, yeah. Dude, what, you know.
What did we gain here?
What did we gain, you know? I mean, you run your cost of operation up a lot higher, but you ain't added anything to the bottom line.
I think the speed limiting is frustrating just to a lot of company drivers as they're locked at that speed. And
you know, and I can understand that, and I think, and that's a legitimate concern if you put everybody out here all running 65.
But their minds don't go, okay, I'm governed at 68, I could go 63.
No,
and
they
have the space in between. It's always to the governed speed that they've been given.
They mash it flat.
And they want to go faster than that.
Right. And they're not smart enough to back out of it and leave them some, you know, a little pedal to get around somebody. Or, I don't know how many times, hell, you'll see them, they'll fall out in the left lane and try to pass going up a hill. I'm like, dude, you know you ain't got the ass to get up that hill.
And then you've got 50 vehicles by the time you get to the top of that hill.
Right. And then you got guys, and you'll appreciate this, you know, you got guys like me and you, we're 14 foot wide, and now we're hemmed in everywhere because they won't go on. And these cars, I mean, if you leave 6 inches for a car, they're coming.
Yeah.
You know, and they will sit right there. You've got nowhere to go. These two assholes plugging up, and then you got some guy on the shoulder making a peanut butter sandwich.
Right.
You know, I mean, and he's not broke down. He's just sitting there making a sandwich, taking a 30-minute break.
And you're 2 or 3 feet over that side and going to collect the hell out of that thing that's sitting on the fog line.
Right. You know, and then, you know, we're screwed.
What are you supposed to do? Get off the highway and just stop and...
That's right.
get under the covers and
that's it. Cry,
wait for 3 o'clock in the morning when, you can't run at night.
And so the only thing, the only thing you can do is you start squeezing cars, and then you start getting the finger.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, you're giving me the finger, man, but when
I'm trying to save your life.
Right. I'm watching out for you just like I'm watching out for me. I mean, if I see 2 Jersey walls coming up and there's no shoulder and I take the zipper, I'm doing that for a reason. I'm doing that for your protection.
You don't get killed.
Right, because I know you're too stupid to take care of yourself. I know if I
not
leave
ignorant, not your.
No, they're
you
stupid.
just don't realize.
They don't realize.
They don't know what they can't know.
They realize that you're in the way, and if they can just get around you, they can go on.
Yep. There's that, and sometimes they just don't know. They just
sometimes sometimes
is that ignorant
they're
or
just
stupid?
Depends on how many times you've dealt with it that day, But you're right. They just don't know no better. They don't. I mean, it's like you say. I mean, how can they know what they don't know? But it makes their job a little.
All right, lightning round number 2.
Lightning round 2. Okay.
Yeah, 18-year-olds being able to drive big trucks across state lines. So I guess it's existed for a while where you can drive intrastate, being within that state, like farm guys, farm kids, whatever. But they're proposing that they drop the age from 21 to 18 for holding a CDLA. What do you think about that?
That's a loaded question too, man. I don't know. Not all 18-year-olds are created equal.
Correct.
When I was 18, there ain't no way in hell, I mean, but of course, I was too busy, looking for the women and everything else. I wasn't mature enough to be out here.
You wouldn't have trusted yourself behind the wheel of a...
No, because, I mean, it ain't so much I wouldn't trust myself behind the wheel of the truck, which, of course, at that time, 20, 25 years ago is a little different it is out here now, I mean, hell, there was a lot of partying going on back then, and even less then than it was, 10, 15 years before then, but no, I think a lot of 18-year-olds, especially like you say, a lot of these farm kids and all, I mean, they're perfectly capable of handling the truck and doing what needs to be done.
Agreed, but if it's a push by the likes of an ATA sponsored Swift or CR.
Well, those guys, they're dealing with a labor issue, and they're wanting to take advantage of those 18-year-olds.
Right.
In my opinion, I mean, it's not about anything other than the machine eating. I mean, they need to feed the machine, and to me, megas are a machine. They're a meat grinder.
They need fresh meat.
Yeah, they need fresh because they done burnt through everybody. They done burnt everybody up. They're scraping. Which it was years ago. Hell, Swift was going to homeless shelters and getting people out of homeless shelters.
Really?
Yeah. When I was a mechanic, I worked with a guy that was a mechanic for Swift, and he quit because of that. He's like, they were going to the homeless shelter and getting people out of the homeless shelter. And in one sense, you say, oh, well, that's good. They're giving the homeless people, something to do. But it wasn't so much about helping the homeless as it was about fucking the homeless.
Yeah.
Is what it's about, I mean, we're going to get them out here because then...
You've got a better existence than what you were.
Right.
Is it really better than what we should be offering you?
Well, what it winds up being is indentured servitude. You're in this truck, but you're not making no money, so you can't really quit because you've not really bettered yourself and put yourself in a better financial situation, but that's to me, the ATA, man, I don't believe anything that comes from those guys. They're kind of like an evil cabal, man.
I subscribe to OOIDA only, and people say, they're this, that, and the other. But I'm like, they're the only bastion left of an independent driver or an owner operator that you can give $50 to a year.
And I'm a member.
And get a magazine.
And I'm a member of OOIDA, and there's some of the stuff that they do that I agree with. Some of it I don't agree with it. Some of it, because I have to walk a fine line between independent driver, owner, operator,
Mm-hmm.
and a business owner.
Yep.
So, and sometimes those, I mean, it's like we was last talking about the speed limiters. Those sometimes they diverge. They're not always the same, and so. Yeah,
it's not a cut and dry conversation.
Yeah, it's not. That's right, and I don't think any of this is a cut and dry. I don't want to say no. There's no 18-year-olds should be allowed in the industry, because there is a valid argument. Hell, they can be in Texas, and I mean, hell, you can drive 2 days across Texas and never leave. So I mean, it's not.
State line.
So just the state line is, to me, an arbitrary issue. Why don't we go with, hey, they can run a 250-mile radius of their domicile?
Okay.
So whether you're in Kansas City or whether you're in Midland, Texas,
Wichita,
it doesn't.
Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, you can be in Kansas City, Missouri. I mean, 250 miles either way. You working? Hell, you probably work 3 or 4 states in a 250-mile radius, Kansas City. So to me, that would be a little more logical issue. But
does it seem to you like it seems to me more of a grab of the mega carriers just trying to put fresh meat in the seat?
That's what I think it's a lot about, is just mega carriers.
Now, I don't want to crap on mega carriers, but
no,
it seems to be an employment opportunity for them, to fill the seats.
Right, and if they can get them young, they can train them young. They can train them their way. They don't have as many bad habits that they've got to try to, and it ain't even necessarily bad habits, but anytime you go somewhere else, it's, well, at our company, our old company, we did it this way. You don't have all that, and to a point, I think a lot of it goes to they're easier to deal with, more docile. Because a 50-year-old guy ain't going to take so much.
He's set in his ways.
He's set in his ways, and you're not going to talk to him this way. You're not going to threaten him. You're not going to scare him, because he don't give a shit. He'll tell you where you can pick your truck up.
A younger kid,
18-year-old kid,
first
can
job.
be intimidated a little more.
Yep.
Can be pushed around a little more, can be fed that shit sandwich a little more, and say, yes, sir, may I have another? Whereas an older guy, especially a seasoned guy, he knows his value in the industry, and he's not going to put up with it.
Right.
But I also think, to a point, those guys are not the ones that are going to work at megas. I mean, a seasoned veteran that's a quality operator
should have found his way in the
industry. If he's a quality operator, he's not going to be going to a mega carrier to run OTR, more than likely. I mean, he's going to, if he doesn't already own his own truck, he's going to be working for a smaller outfit, probably more than likely more of a niched outfit. He's not going to be eating, OTR band parade.
Well, how's fuel prices affecting your business right now?
Well, they're high. I can tell you that.
Yeah, we know
they're
that.
high. I don't know. To me, my fuel costs, I mean, they have gotten through the roof. But luckily, I've been able to pass on most of it. Profit margins fell off some, but it hasn't fell in the toilet or nothing. I mean. So
give them more money to the oil companies that you would be pocketing in profit.
Yeah, but it's really, I mean, it's really just a couple percentage points. I mean, it's not drastic. And I attribute a lot of that because rates have come up to compensate for some of it. I wouldn't say they've compensated for all of it. But yeah, it is what it is. I think I've been real fortunate. The specialized market has picked up somewhat from what it was. Which it right now is our busy season anyhow.
True.
I mean,
warmer months, construction.
Right. And when all the oil prices really shot through the roof, it was at the beginning of March. And, the beginning of March, we're still right at the end of our slow season, you know, because January, February, and March is generally slow. March starts picking up, but from then, you know, on to, you know, September, you know, October maybe.
October is where, yep,
is where I make the most of my money. So right now, you know, I've run into my busy season, so that has helped. Because yeah, I tell you, you know, when it all first started happening, I was like, yeah, you know, because at the time, you know, the amount of freight volume and the rates that you were seeing they wasn't sustainable. You know, at fuel at $5.50 a gallon. You know, especially not when you're getting, you know, 4.5 miles to the gallon.
Miles to the gallon pulling what you're doing
right,
now.
Right. You know, but I've been real fortunate. I know a lot of guys are not as fortunate right now. I think a lot of that, you know, some of it is cyclical, I guess, you know, the normal way that the freight market should be. I think we've operated the last 2 years in an abnormal market. And
yep.
A lot of people come in the industry who've never been in a normal market. And so they thought that was the normal market. And now they're finding out otherwise that, well, you know,
things are a bit tougher.
Yeah, now they're caught with their dick in their hand, you know. I mean, because they set their business up to operate at those kind of rates, you know.
Yep.
I mean, that's how they planned their business.
And
you know?
expect an amount of profitability from
Right, right, you know. And 2 years ago, I mean, anybody and their brother could make money out here. You know, I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, everybody was throwing money at everybody, you know, and now they're hollering, oh, and it's like a double whammy for those guys too, is the bad part, and that's why I can feel their pain, because not only are they getting the shock of the freight rates dropping and getting more back to a stabilized normal rate, but at the same time, fuel shot through the damn roof.
Well, normal as so far as we have seen, if you've been in the market for 5-7 years.
Right.
If you've only been in it 2 years.
Right. If you
normal to you.
Right. Yeah. If you've only been in you know, as an owner operator playing on the spot market in the last 2 years, you're in for a hell of a shock. You know.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't normal. You
right.
know. And a lot of guys, they bought trucks overpriced, they bought trailers overpriced, and they bought multiple trucks and hired drivers.
Didn't even consider that as the guys that actually spread out and tried to grow a 5-10 truck fleet.
You know, and
trailers.
And now, you know, and the thing is at the time, you know, hell, they were chasing rates. You know, they were, I don't know, how many of them built a relationship? You know, I mean, the last 2 years was the perfect opportunity to build relationships with shippers. And even if you don't want to deal with shippers and you want to strictly deal with brokers, build a relationship with a broker.
Right.
You know, and I understand a lot of guys who are like, well, I don't want to. There's a lot of guys out there who just want to play spot market.
Yep.
Because they don't want to get tied into the same route, the same loads, and they just kind of want to, you know, roam around like a modern day gypsy. And I understand that, but at the same time, you need to be building relationships with brokers that have the freight that you like to haul and the areas you like to haul. And then, you know, when you don't want to work, just say, well, you know, I'm taking this week off or whatever else. But you have built a rapport with these people. They know they can depend on your service. They know your truck's not going to break down. They know you're going to...
So that depending on the market shifts, you're still there in their
Right,
minds.
right. You know, and you're still probably going to take a little bit of a hit because, look, I imagine your brokers are taking a hit, you know, because the thing is they've got people coming after their freight too.
Yep.
And their customers are calling them saying, hey,
you need to shift this for a bit cheaper.
Yeah, Coyote come by and they said they'll do this, or hey, Blair's Trucking come in and they said they'll move it for this, you know. And brokers have to do the same thing as truckers. They have to build relationships with these shippers of being consistent, providing a truck, providing a value.
Yeah.
You have to be a value add, not a value drain.
Minus.
You know, and in the last 2 years, a lot of people have been a value minus. They're not giving a shit about, I don't care what you got to deal with. Pay me my money, you know.
Right.
And
my dumb analogy is the sniper. Like, you want to set yourself up in a tree, and you want to pick off the best market rates. Like, you're looking for those customers out there.
Right.
Well, you better have a really good gun.
Right.
And a really good scope.
Right.
But make sure that's specialized so you can get those customers. If you're sitting in the tree with a 22 rifle and open sights, you're only going to get things that are about yay round.
Right. And that's true, you know. And you've got to look at that bigger picture. You got to look farther out.
And it's okay to be the guy that tries to pick off those big loads, like 20 grand on one load, 15 on one load, 35 grand on one load, sit at the house for the rest of the year. But you better build those relationships, and get the equipment together.
Right. If that's the way you want to run your business, great. But like you said, build the relationships with the people who are shipping these 20 grand loads.
Yep.
You know, that are going from Georgia to California or wherever it is that you're wanting to operate in.
And build your equipment to that spec.
Don't
just sit in the tree with the
right. Don't come in here and say, hey, you know, I'm gonna come in here with my Whitsco Challenger, you know, that goes negative camber when I put, you know, anything on it. You know,
yeah.
I'm gonna come in here and move your big machine,
right.
You know, and don't come in here with a beat up damn truck that's cobbled together that you was hauling dry vans with last year, and you added an axle to it, and now you're a heavy hauler.
Yeah, you gotta be specialized now.
Right, you know, one, being cheap up front is going to cost you money in the long run, or you can spend money up front and you'll come out better in the long run. And two, it doesn't look good and it doesn't look professional when you show up with shit equipment.
Right.
You know, these people are not going to call you back. They're going to tell me about it whenever I show up. They're going to say, man, you should have seen what that last guy. And I don't know how many times you get them. I mean, they'll say, oh, that last guy, you know, if it wasn't perfectly even all the way around, we had to keep redoing it till we got it everything within a quarter inch, you know. And I'll come in and, dude, we're only going 200 miles down the road.
We'll slap it on the deck.
Put it on the damn trailer. I don't care if it's sideways. We'll go.
As long as it's kind of square, we're good.
You be professional. Be a problem solver. Don't be the guy that comes in here, oh, I can't. This ain't what y'all told me it was.
We have to make more problems.
Right. You know, I mean, don't say, well, you guys, this ain't what you said. I ain't doing it. You know, or I ain't doing it unless you give me more money. Figure out a solution, then go to them and say, okay, guys, we got to drop back and punt. You know, I've got to redo permits. I got to go this way now instead of that way. I'm willing to do all this, but this is what I need extra to do it. You know, don't be a no, be a yes.
And how we're going to solve it.
And this is how we're going to do it. You know, and be that guy that solves problems. Be that driver that shows up, and it's not everybody's pain in the ass. You know, not just a negative, you know, grouch. You know, yes, we all, you know, I get irritated with this shit. You know, you show up, things ain't right, you know, or, you know, a rig and crew ain't where they supposed to be. You know, it's irritating. I get it, but you're a professional.
Right.
Be the professional.
Play the professional role.
Play the part.
Even if you have to play it. Even if it's just acting for the day for you.
Right. You know, and then just, that's how you build a name for yourself.
Right.
You learn, be an easygoing. I don't know how many times I've had people comment on how easygoing I am when I show up to load. Because look, it's sort of like we was talking earlier about the cars who don't know no better. Sometimes the shipper don't know no better. You know, they don't know this and they don't know that.
Yeah, true. I've had that before too.
Now, you can educate them. Don't be an asshole about it. don't stomp your feet and scream and holler. Be polite, be respectful, because you are on their property. They are paying you. You know, you are moving their whatever.
But explain to them politely.
But explain to them,
this is what we need to do.
This is how we need to do. You know,
to transport this product safely and legally.
Right, and you'll build a name for yourself. And you know, it's like all your other videos, your videos with Skeeter and all these guys tell you, do the hard shit. Is how you set yourself apart.
Yep.
That's how you survive these bad markets. You know, if you've got a customer that ships a load to Miami, Florida every week, and everybody knows Miami's a dead zone. You don't want to go to Miami. It's a hard load to deal with. Tell them, look, Miami's hard. There's no freight coming out. It's a dead zone. I'm more than happy to do it at this price. You know, and then look, if they take it, you've gave them a price, be happy, give them good service, do it. And if they don't, then just move on
to the next one.
You know, I mean, because we're not a charity. You know, I mean.
No, hell no.
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I'm willing.
Got to return a profit.
I'm willing to work. I'm willing to be easy to get along with, but I'm not a charity. This truck's got to generate money. It's how I feed my family. So you can't take the easy loads, because the easy loads are the cheap loads. I mean, honestly.
Generally, bricks and sticks.
Right. You know, toilet paper, whatever. You know, if it's easy, driver no touch. It's going to be cheap.
Strap and go.
Strap and go. It's going to be cheap. I mean, you know, but when you call and they tell you, oh yeah, it's 12 foot high, 14 wide, it needs full tarps. You know,
Strap
right
and go. No touch freight driver.
Yeah. You know, right then, it's how lazy do you want to be? Because you can make that tarp load pay, or you can do strap and go and not get paid shit.
Right.
You know, now if you take the strap and go and don't get paid nothing, then you've got no right to go on the internet and complain. You got no right to go to the truck stop and sit at the lunch counter and say there ain't no money in freight.
Yeah.
You know, now.
What are you willing to do?
What are you willing to do?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and there's a lot of guys who are not willing to do much. You know, and if that's the way you want to be, fine. And if you're happy, somebody's got to move toilet paper.
And sometimes toilet paper pays well.
Well, when people got a shit, you know, they'll pay for toilet paper. You know, I mean,
dogs always got to eat. So dog food's always good.
And I'm not putting down.
No, neither do I.
I'm not putting down guys who choose that.
I like having toilet paper in the stores.
But just
denim on the clothes rack.
Right. But just realize your role in this whole big, you know, machine we call the economy. You know, I mean, you're not going to get paid the same as a guy that's moving house trailers down the road. You know, I mean, they're not.
I guess
it's not the same level of work, though.
I guess it winds up that the dog food and toilet paper winds up with mega carriers that can employ.
It winds up a lot of training companies.
Yep.
You know, and they're training companies. They know they're training companies. They know they don't pay anything, and they know that once these people get a year in the industry, they're going to greener pastures.
Yep.
You know, and that's their business model.
Wherever those greener pastures are, because
right.
they all seem the same to me.
But, well, yeah, they do all look the same. But like I said, that's their business model. It's their model, just like the guy who does the $20,000 load, you know, once a month and then he's done, or twice a month and he's done. That's his business model.
Right.
This is Stevens Transport's business model. Now, Blair, do you want to go out and buy a van trailer and compete with that business model?
No.
Or do you want to compete with the other business model? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, but if
I can't compete with that business model.
But if you,
I've got my neighbour that you met just before.
Right, yeah.
Is with a dog food company.
Yeah.
Here in the local area.
Yeah.
And I could negotiate rates with him.
Right.
But I'm up against Snyder and Stevens and. There's no, even if
and
I
he's
bought
your
five,
neighbor,
five trucks,
right?
Yeah, he could really help me out,
right?
But it would still be to the
But at
limit.
the end of the day, he's got a boss he's got to answer to. He's got spreadsheets and
Yep.
he's got profit and loss statements that he's got to manage. His business is making dog food profitable, not making trucking for Blair profitable.
And I see trucking is a pretty expensive business right now, so
Oh,
I can't see any of that being profitable unless I had 1,000 trucks and could do it at 3 or 4 cents to the.
Made it on volume, and even then, there's a certain amount of, okay, well, we're going to take a hit and we're going to lose this quarter, but we're going to weather the storm.
I was about to say that, or even worse, like they're operating at $1.04 a mile to $1 to service, so they're losing 4 or 5 cents per mile just to service that, in the hopes that the economy comes back,
in the hopes that it'll come back,
or fuel comes back down, or whatever, and just to weather that storm for another year.
And a one-truck guy doesn't have that luxury.
I can't do that.
Because hell,
I could, but for
what, 6-8 months a year? You can only operate at a loss, for
so long,
a small amount of time.
And added to that, why the hell would I want to go out and work 3,000 miles a week?
Why do I want to work just
money?
To work? Yeah. If I'm going to lose money, then hell, I'll sit at home and lose money.
And hope the contract's going to come back.
But a lot of those guys, and just like now, they'll say, well, hell, I can work. And yeah, I'm losing money, but I'm only losing $20. Whereas if I go home, I'm losing $100. So they're trying to minimize that loss, is what they're trying to do, in the same hopes that things will turn around. But you don't have the same operating cost per truck. So you're not buying the truck the same price that Schneider's buying a truck for. You're not buying tires for that price. Mm-hmm. I mean, just a sheer scale of economy. You can't compete,
Nope.
And so you've got to do something
different
that they're not in. You've got to pick a market, and look, it could be tanker, it could be flatbed LTL, it could be heavy, it could be stretch.
It could be hazmat, it could be
medical,
hazmat, refrigerated medical.
Right. I mean, you could be running ag. I mean, there's a whole
tailgate delivery.
Right. There's a
short truck, like the 28-foot butt trailer.
Right. There's a whole
residential delivery pools,
or hell,
homes.
If you live near a major metro area, hell, make your business out of running in and out of Atlanta. I mean,
furniture, office furniture.
I mean, there's a guy that we know that's pretty damn impressive, and all he does is run New England. I mean, he'll run Massachusetts, Boston, New York City. And there's guys every day refusing to go in there.
There's companies that say no New England,
no New York,
no
that's
New
right.
York. We won't
or
send
it gets
you there.
wintertime, you hear them, oh, well, we'll keep you down south where you're not running up in the cold. And look, I'm from the south, and you guys screw me over in the wintertime because y'all all come down here and take all my damn freight for shit, and I've got to take my ass up to Minnesota in New England and run in the wintertime.
And service customers that are devoid of...
And it's because I ain't a pussy. That's why. But there's a whole world of trucking out here. It don't have to be what I do. I would prefer it not be what I do. But whenever you're calling TQL and they got a load of detergent and you show up at Unilever and they got 500 dock doors, you kind of know what you're getting, I mean, and I'm sorry, I think I experienced all this. I mean, a lot of it's growing pains. A lot of it is new to the industry, new to being an owner-operator, new to dealing with brokers.
Yep.
Not knowing how to negotiate with brokers. Excuse me. Not knowing what you're worth. I mean, it's like we said earlier. Shit.
Yeah, keep those okra.
Yeah.
Fry them up later. They're from Missouri.
Yeah,
Missouri okra.
I'll fry all 4 pieces, But yeah, I think a lot of guys, they don't know I don't think they know how negotiable rates are when you call a broker.
Yep.
They say, oh, well, it's like ring, hey, Mr. Broker, I see you got a load from Joplin to Little Rock. What's that load pay? There's your first mistake. You ask them, what does that load pay? you're the one that tells them what it pays.
Yeah, this is how much I'd like to run it for.
All right, they say it pays $1,000. Now at this point, you've got 2 or 3 options. You got about 3 options. Now, $1,000 is too cheap. Hang the phone
down. Second option?
Is that the best you can do? Now, there's your second mistake. You're begging. Is that the best you can do? Well, it doesn't really matter what.
I can do $10.50.
Yeah. Come on, man. Can you?
Third option.
Third option is, hey, Mr. Broker, I'm calling on this Joplin to Little Rock. I see it weighs this. What's the dimensions on it? Okay. Well, I can get this thing moved for you tomorrow morning for $2,500. Now, always add to your bottom. If 25 is your bottom, tell them 3. Tell them 35. Tell them 4. I don't care. You know, because they want to feel like they get a good bargain. So they're going to hit you back. Okay.
I've watched Dave Zimmerman, who I've interviewed, talking to a broker, and it's the most beautiful thing. It's the I can do that for $2,800. It's posted for $1,000.
Yeah.
I can do it for $2,800, and I'll have a truck there
at 8
tomorrow
a.m.
morning, 7:30,
Right.
7:30 in the morning.
Right.
And there we are.
There we are.
Oh, that's way too much. Well, thank you for the conversation, and if you need to reach,
Right. You know,
I'll be there for you.
I'll be there.
Yep.
You know,
And sometimes they call back.
a
and
lot of
say,
times they'll call back.
Yep.
You know, sometimes it ain't.
Sometimes
Sometimes they'll call back in 5 minutes. Sometimes it'll be a couple hours.
Yeah.
I like the ones that call back in a couple hours, and I done booked another load, and
Moved on and said, I'm sorry.
Like, sorry, buddy, you can't. You know. But you know, I like to haggle with them. You know, I mean, so that's why, you know, if 25's my bottom,
It's just a game.
and a lot of times, this is another thing I'll do, is I tell you what, man, I can do 31, 75, 27. Makes them think, oh, he's really,
He's dialed
this
down
in.
his figures.
You know, he's dialed this in. And they'll be like, oh, come on, man, that's a little much. You know, I was moving these for this, you know, last week. Yeah, but that was last week. This is this week.
That's
you
what
know.
I got on it.
But I tell you what, man, I like you. And they say a good deal is when both people leave unhappy. So I'll do it for 28.
Say it again. A good deal is when.
Both parties leave unhappy.
Okay.
That's a good deal, you know. So it makes them feel like, hey, you know, this guy, you know, I got all I can out of him. He ain't gonna go no more, and I'll give, you know, and it makes them feel like they've won.
Yeah.
That's what you always want. You don't want them to leave feeling you screwed them,
Or vice versa.
and you don't want to leave feeling you got screwed.
Right.
Because if you feel like you got screwed, you're gonna remember them. You're like, I ain't calling that son of a bitch no more.
Yeah.
And they're gonna feel the same way.
Right.
You know, so you want to feel like they got a value. You want to feel like you got what you wanted, you know.
We worked out a deal.
And sometimes I don't come out as good as I'd like. Sometimes I do, you know, but you never know unless you put it out there, you know. But yeah, if and I don't care what it says. The market rate says this lane moves for $1,500. I don't give a shit.
And.
And call them up, $2,200, man. I'll be there at 8 in the morning.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it's simple as that. And then, you know, sometimes it helps to say, look, yeah, you know, here's my rate, and this is why it's this high, because they'll say, oh, that's high. It's like, yeah, but
Explain it to them.
but the permits are going to cost this.
Right.
You know, fuel's going to cost that. I just run this lane last week, so I know Oklahoma's making me do a detour that's 50 miles out of the way.
Yep. So that's going to add some time.
That's going
to
to
it.
add some time to it.
Some
You know, look, man, I got this cargo insurance. You don't have to go get a rider. You know, I mean, yeah, they need a $500,000 cargo. Not everybody's calling you with a $500,000 cargo.
Supplement the higher rate with some information that justifies
Right.
why
And a
you're.
lot of times, you know, you'll get a little farther ahead.
Yeah.
You know, but probably done what we needed to do, don't
I
we?
like that though. Do you like that?
I like it.